Good morning and welcome to your Antagonist strength and ankle mobility flow. Today we'll be pairing lots of strength movements with some mobility to open up the legs and especially our capacity to move our ankles. How this translates into your climbing practice is for any sort of pushing over movement where you really need some thigh strength to lift yourself up on a tiny little foothold, and even just as we know within climbing, pulling is our main action. So by supporting our muscles with a pushing force, we become overall stronger and overall capable to approach different sorts of blocks. So today we'll be starting on our mat in a child's pose. So bring your big toes to touch and send the hips back to sit on your heels. Walk your hands towards the front of the mat and let your forehead place onto the mat. Let the tension melt away in your shoulders, in between the eyebrows and in the jaw. And just allow yourself to arrive here on your mat. Pay attention to your breath, making sure that your inhales and your exhales are long and stable. And when you're ready, start to walk your hands back towards your knees. We'll start off with a couple wrist stretches. So placing your hands onto your mat pretty close to your knees, we'll just start to rock forward and back. Option to tuck the toes under to give yourself a little bit more leverage. Slightly rocking forward and back, and of course, paying attention to your limits here. Our forearms are often some of the most tight muscles in our body as climbers, so really go gentle here. We'll internally rotate the hands and continue that rocking motion. Finally, externally rotate the hands. Continue to rock. Perfect. Bring the knees together. Sit onto the heels, keeping the toes tucked under. If this is not accessible, option to just untuck the toes and sit down. We'll take the wrists out in front of us. Create small fists with the hands, not squeezing. And we'll start to internally rotate the hands and circle towards the middle, then out to the sides. So just taking about 5 circles here, going in towards the middle, wrists turning in towards one another. 2, 1. Now reverse the direction. Firing up the muscles in the arms, the forearms. Last one here. Nice. Give your hands a little bit of a shake. And then we'll meet in downward facing dog. So send the hips towards the back of the mat, keeping the knees nice and bent, pushing the shoulders back, chest back towards the thighs. Deep breath in. Exhale out. Roll out into plank. Adjusting the hands so that they're directly underneath the shoulders. Hips are in line with the spine. The quads are activated. The feet pressing firmly into the mat. Pressing firm into the hands to puff up in between the scapulae. Feeling strong here. You might be shaking a little bit, that's fine. Shift the weight forward, lower down into a low tricep push-up, chaturanga. Inhale. Press back to plank. Lower down again. Inhale, plank. 3 more. Lower down. Plank. Push up. plank, last one, push up, plank. Now coming down onto your forearms, we'll open up first towards the left. So bring in your right hand parallel to the front of your mat. Open up your hips for a side plank. Reach the left fingertips up towards the sky, pressing firmly into and out of the right shoulder. Option to stack the feet here. Deep breath. Now pull that top knee in towards your chest. Practicing stabilization of the hips, igniting the core and the shoulder. Come back to your breath. For 3, 2, 1. Place the feet back down. Come back to center. Forearm plank. Whoever thought a forearm plank could feel like a rest? And now we'll switch towards the right. So left arm turns in parallel to the mat. Open the hips. Side plank. Deepening the breath if it's become shortened and quick. And then lift the top knee into the chest. As we practice keeping our breath long and strong in these challenging postures, we practice keeping our nervous system relaxed in highly stressful situations. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Place the feet back on top of one another. Come back to forearm plank. Lower the hips down. Open the feet. Sphinx posture. Your elbows are directly underneath your shoulders. On the inhale, open up the chest towards the front, look towards the front. Now, if we're particularly tight in the upper body and in the back, this Sphinx posture might not be accessible, might not feel great. So option to come down, place the hands on the side of the ribs and just gently lift up the chest. Now, if you're in Sphinx, engage the glutes, gaze is forward. Release the tension in the glutes. Tuck the toes wherever you are, coming back onto your elbows, and then lift the hips, forearm plank. Come into high plank. Send the hips back, downward facing dog. Deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Rising high in the toes, slowly walk your feet about 8 to 10 tiny steps towards the front. Once you're there, bend the knees, forward fold. Let the head fall down towards the mat. Exhale, slowly rolling up to standing, Tadasana. Head is the last thing to rise up. And once we're standing, maybe adjust the feet to make sure they're hips width distance apart. Bending slightly the knees, tucking the pelvis to neutralize the curve in low back. Release the tension in the shoulders. Now, we're going to give ourselves a nice big hug. So it doesn't matter which way you wrap your arms. Ideally, your elbows will be rested onto your chest. I have a microphone here, so I have to lift my arms a little bit. And we're going to roll into some spine rotations. So not moving any other muscle or any other part of our body. We'll just be focusing on the upper rib cage, more so the thoracic rib cage. So on your inhale, bend forward, tuck your chin towards your chest. Rolling over towards the left side. Keep your chin towards your chest, roll towards the back. Over towards the right. Back down front. Once more in this direction. Left. Back. Right. Front. Switch directions. Right. Back, chin to chest. Left. Front, last time this direction. Right. Back. Left. Front. Release the arms. Shake them out a little bit. Nice work. Inhale the arms up, look up towards the sky. Exhale, forward fold, chest to thighs. Inhale, halfway lift, look towards the front of the mat. And exhale, step back into high plank. This time we'll open the hands wide, maybe as wide as your mat, maybe a little bit wider depending on your size. Shift your weight forward, high in the toes. Come down into your low tricep push-up. Inhale, pressing up to high plank. Low tricep push-up. High plank. 3 more. Plank. 2 more. Last one. Nice work. Send the hips back. Downward facing dog. Open up the feet a little bit more. And then exhale, walk both feet towards the front of the mat. Slowly rise up. Step the left toes towards the back. Spread apart the feet. And then shift over towards the left side, goddess pose. So your heels will come in towards the center. And we'll bend down, squatting into the legs. Now really making sure that we're anchored in all 4 corners of our feet here. That curve in our spine is neutralized by bringing the pelvis forward. Bring the hands in front of the heart in prayer. Lower down a little bit lower. Lower down to the point where you feel your thighs start to engage and turn on. A little bit of heat will rise. And we'll start by shifting the weight over towards the right and then to the left. Over towards the right to the left. 4 more like this. Slowly working into the leg muscles, the thigh muscles. Practicing the transfer of weight on flat feet. Two more. Last one. Perfect. Come back to center. We're feeling the heat now. Lower down the hips just a little bit more. Now, you lowered them down pretty low. But see if you can go a little bit lower, just about a millimeter, and then lift them back up. So this range of movement between lower and up is very tiny. And we'll just move through down and up, pulsing in this deep squat. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Amazing. Come back up. Last little push here. Lift the right heel, then the left. Lift the right and the left. Keeping the hips where they are, trying not to move up and down with the movement of the heels. Option to bring your hands onto your hips. We'll do 3 more on each side. 2, 1. If you're shaking, I'm shaking too. Hold here for just a moment. Remember to keep that breath nice, long, and stable. You are so much stronger than you think. 3, 2, 1. Amazing. Drop that left back knee in towards the middle into a lunge, and then lower down onto the left knee. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale, untuck the back toes. Bring your hands onto your hips. And we'll go into a deeper sort of psoas or hip flexor stretch. So normally here, we can sink into a low lunge, but I find that this posture doesn't accommodate to everyone. So staying pretty high in this lunge, the thigh is parallel or in the same line as the rest of the body. On the inhale, we'll look forward. And on the exhale, tuck the chin towards the chest, bring the pubic bone forward. You'll start to feel a deeper stretch in the hip flexor. Deeper stretch all the way up the spine, maybe into the neck. And then release, come back to neutral. And we'll fold forward into it again. Tuck the chin to chest. Back to neutral. Last time here, chin to chest. Come back to neutral. Nice work. Now, tuck the back toes. Lift high crescent lunge. Reach the arms up towards the sky. And then fold forward, step both feet back into high plank. Send the hips back, downward facing dog. Option to walk your dog by bending one leg and then the other. Coming back to the breath, preparing for the other side. So we'll inhale, rise high in the toes, look forward. Exhale, step the left foot forward, then the right. Slowly rise up to Tadasana. This time I'll be facing away from you, but we'll step the right toes back. And then we'll open up into Goddess towards the right. Squatting down low. This time we'll bring our hands out to the sides, palms down to the ground. Coming back to the breath. Lower the hips down a little bit lower. And we'll start by lifting both heels at the same time. So inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. You might find that it's hard to stay on the toes, to stay on your balance. That's okay. If you fall, just come right back into it. We've got about 4 more here. Nice. Bring your hands into prayer in front of your heart, and we'll start to shift left and right. Now we're really feeling it. This is your invitation to deepen your breath. Stay in there. Stay present through the difficulty. Two more. Amazing. Coming back to Goddess. Last little bit here. Lower down, lift up. These tiny little pulses for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Amazing. Coming into your high lunge, crescent lunge towards the front. And then exhale. Step it back, high plank. Lower the hips down. Pressing firmly into the hands to puff up in between the scapulae. And we'll lower down, low tricep push-up. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Let's rise the right toes high towards the sky, 3-point. Exhale, bend and stack. Bend the right leg, flex the foot towards the left shoulder. Open the hips towards the right side. Come back to center, point the toes. Exhale, low lunge. Place the foot in between the hands. Let the left knee drop down onto the mat. Now, option to untuck the back toes here and bring your hands up onto your thigh. If that does not feel good in your body, you can place your hands back down onto the mat or on 2 blocks or books if you don't have blocks. Really allowing your hips to sink low into this thigh stretch. Option to reach behind and grab the right toes with the left or with the right hand. The left toes with the right hand. Sides are difficult. Release the bind. Bring your left knee or your right knee back into alignment. Now a little bit of a test here. We'll rise high onto the right toes. Option to tuck the left toes under to give you a little bit of support. We're going to try to rise up on these high toes here. So either pushing into your back foot and using your hands to transfer the weight, or using no hands if you're that advanced. We can try and shift the weight forward. I need to smear my foot to help me stand up. See where you can go with that. And place both toes down. Place the heels down. If you fell out of that, no worries. Just come back into your standing position. And we'll step the right toes back. Lower down into your low lunge. And tuck the back toes. Option to reach behind and grab the back leg with the left arm. A little bit of a heart opening as well as thigh stretch. And we'll release the bind. Now, same little challenge here on the left. Rise high in the toes and see if we can transfer the weight towards the front. Once you're there, see if you can balance on those high toes. And then place both feet back down. Nice job. Inhale the arms up towards the sky, look up. Exhale, fold forward. Step back into your high plank. And then down dog. We'll rise the left toes up this time. Bend and stack, flex the foot, open the hips towards the left. Keeping your shoulders square towards the mat. Come back into your 3-point and bring the foot down. And we'll just draw the right knee into our chest. Set it down on the mat. Sit your hips down on the mat, coming to face the left side. Janu Sirshasana, which is just a fun way or a Sanskrit way to say an inner thigh stretch. So we'll bring the right foot to the left thigh. Option to grab the shin. Inhale the right fingertips up and over. Lengthen before we bend over towards the left side, flexing the foot. If you'd like a little bit of a deeper stretch, place your forearm with the palm reaching up in front of your foot or even underneath your foot. Come back to center, release. And we'll switch the legs. Left foot bends. Inhale, the left fingertips up. Place the right hand onto the shin or underneath the foot. Then bend over. The gaze can be either down towards the mat or up towards the sky, whatever feels best in your neck. Come back to center. We'll shift onto our hips. Our feet pretty close to our hips and our hands just right behind. Reverse plank. So we'll inhale, press into the hands, into the feet, lift the hips up towards the sky. Maybe take the time to adjust the feet further or closer to your body. We'll feel a pretty intense stretch in the shoulders here. That's exactly what we want to feel. But remember to follow your own limit, your own personal limit. It's only you who is practicing in your own body. So it is only you who can say what feels best. Option to drop the head back. And then exhale, drop the hips down first. Release the hands, and then slowly lower down onto your back, keeping your legs nice and bent. Figure 4, taking the left foot, flexing it, and then placing the left ankle onto the right knee. Now, option to stay right here. Option to take your left hand and interlace it in the hole of your legs, grabbing the right leg. Pull your leg back towards your face, flexing the feet to protect the knee. After all that thigh work, this feels particularly nice. And release the hands. Place the foot back down onto the mat. Keeping this figure 4 position, just let your legs drop on over towards the right side for a supine spinal twist. The left arm comes out to the side, palm facing up, and the right hand can come in place onto the leg. You might feel your back crack. Come back through center. Release the bind of the legs, and we'll flow into figure 4 on the other side. So this time the right toes come up, right ankle places onto the left knee. Pull the leg in towards the chest, figure 4. And this time, we'll place the leg back down and cross on over towards the left. So just let the legs fall over towards the left. The gaze is over towards the right. Arm stretches out. Slowly come back to center. Bring both knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice hug. And then rock yourself up to a seated position. Crossing the legs. Letting your hands come down, palms face down onto the knees. Spine is straight. Eyes come to a close. Just come back to the breath before we launch back into our day charged with things to do, places to be. Just allow this moment to let go of all of that. Be fully present. And deepen the breath. Bring your hands in front of your heart center. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed your strength and mobility class and have a great rest of your day or evening.